and posted on the www.minnehahacounty.gov site for viewing by the general public. The Planning Commission convenes as the Zoning Board of Adjustment to consider variance applications and administrative appeals. For these items, we will follow our normal hearing procedure by requesting planning staff to present a report on each item, and then request the petitioner to come to the podium and make a statement or answer any questions. Anyone from the audience wishing to address the item shall be recognized by the chair, move to the podium, and state their name and address for the record. The Board of Adjustment will then discuss the matter and take appropriate action, and any actions taken by the Board of Adjustment are considered as final. First on the agenda is public input. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on an item that is not on the agenda? Next, we'll consider item number 1, which is the minutes from the May 20th, 2024 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. I need a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the May 20th, 2024 meeting. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2. Kevin, I guess that's you.
I get to be the lucky one today to talk. Variance today is to reduce the front yard setback. The request is from 30 feet to 15 feet to allow a new single-family dwelling, which is the manufactured home approved in the previous meeting at the conditional use permit. The proposed variance, as I noted, is along West Shore Place of Wall Lake. Bring up the kind of location, same location as before. The property is composed of 2 lots joined on 1 parcel. And on the south side of the street does not have lake access. Most of the buildings on either side of the street are closer to the road than the 30 feet setback, and I'll note that right away. And you can kind of see that right away on the site plan. You got the accessory building here, here, and here, and they're all closer than 30 feet. 2 accessory buildings already exist on the property, a garden shed and a 20 by 28 feet shed constructed on the property. In addition to normal setbacks, there is a required setback of 10 feet from any existing building for fire concerns, and that narrows that buildable location on the property quite a bit. The building setbacks combined with the small lot shape and the odd shape of the lot together make a potential building site rather small. Staff finds approximate building area in the center of the property to be approximately 20 feet and by 60 feet from side to side. So not enough to fit that 28 by 40 building. It can fit side to side, but not front to back. Some of the criteria used for variance in the county. I'll begin with a particular physical surrounding, shape, topographical conditions of the specific property involved would result in a particular hardship upon the owner as distinguished from other mere inconvenience if the strict letter of the regulations were to be carried out. Where the property is located is on a small lot that's odd shaped, and it has 2 existing sheds that I noted before. The conditional use permit was for a 27-foot wide home, and the approximate building area does not fit that 27 feet. The conditions upon, and does not only not fit the 28 feet, it does not fit a typical 22 or a minimum required 22 feet wide manufactured home. B, the conditions upon which the application for a variance is based upon the general, not to be applicable generally to the property within the same zoning district or other property with similar use. And the property is zoned RR residential. It is required to have 30 feet setback. And as I noted, many of the properties in the area already are closer than that 30-foot setback because of the small lots. This may be somewhat applicable to this narrow area around Wall Lake, but not generally applicable to the rural residential zoning district throughout the county. C, that granting the variance will not be detrimental to the public welfare, injurious to other property or improvements in the area which the property is located. West Shore Place is a private road with slow-moving traffic. And this limits traffic on the road. In addition, the proposed manufactured home will be at least as far back from the road as other neighbors. D, the proposed variance does not unreasonably impair an adequate supply of light, air to the adjacent property, increase congestion of the public streets, increase danger of fire, endanger public safety, or diminish impaired property values in the area. The proposed reduction in setback will result in a single-story manufactured home placed on the property and will not impair light or on the adjacent land or air on the adjacent land. E, that because of the circumstances or conditions, there is no possibility the property can be developed in strict conformity with the provisions of the zoning regulations, that the authorization of the variance is therefore necessary to enable reasonable use of the property. The property is quite small. Without the variance, it would not fit a typical sized house or other buildings that are on property would have to be removed. And that would still likely lead to still requiring a variance because the building window is still rather small. F, the variances, if authorized, will represent a minimum variance that will afford reasonable relief and represent the least modification desirable to the zoning regulations. This is where staff differs a little bit from the request. The requested setback is 15 feet. The current building area is approximately 20 feet deep. The proposed manufactured home is 27 feet wide. This makes a difference of 7 feet, and then with 28 feet, that'd be a 6 foot difference from the building envelope to the front of the property. That would need to be clear to allow manufactured home. The house plans do not include any decks, landings to allow manufactured home to be accessed. That deck would also project into the front yard. A reduction of 15 feet will accommodate the house and front yard approximately 8 feet wide. Excuse me. A deck of approximately 8 feet wide, now 7 feet wide with that 40 or the 28 foot property. Staff recognizes that GIS is not perfect, so they wanted a little bit of wiggle room on there. But overall, staff is recommending a setback of 20 feet off the right way for the house. That way it would accommodate the full width of a car parked in front of the manufactured home, where the tail would not encroach into the right of way when parked there. So like a full parking width. Where 15 feet would have the tail of a car, most cars into the right of way. But with the 15 feet would be able to allow, staff recommends the front deck, the landing to the property to be accommodated in that 15 feet. I know that's a little bit complicated, but that way, so think of this, yes, 15 feet for the front deck, but the house has to be that 20 feet back. So that way you have room to put that deck on and get into the house. But room to also park a car. That's the goal of the staff recommendation. So staff does recommend approval of the variance that with 3 conditions. Number 1 is that first condition that only unenclosed entrance decks and stairs are allowed to be located no closer than 15 feet to the right-of-way property line. That'd be the front deck. Number 2, any enclosed portions of the manufactured home or additions must be located no closer than 20 feet to the right-of-way line. And then 3, a professional survey must be made to ensure the construction of the projects meet the required setbacks listed in 1 and 2. So that would be the recommendation. Same pictures as before in the conditional use permit. There's the rough building envelope. There's the yard, the neighborhood. And I am available for any questions.
Madam Chair, can I ask you, can you go back to the one where the building, I want to just see, how do you have that in there? Is that the blue line, where it's gonna go, or?
So
I'm trying to
that
picture
blue
that in there,
line
I
is
guess.
roughly the building envelope.
Okay.
So you can see the red is the required setbacks.
Yep.
And the blue line is just not quite wide enough to meet that required setback.
Okay, so that's where it's gonna go, right there like that.
Yeah, so it'll probably, so the petitioner drew in the rectangle, the blackened box there.
Okay.
So it'll likely be a little bit further to the west, but to be in that general area there.
Okay. Just so I got an idea of,
Yep.
good generalization of where it's at, fitting on the lot, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for him? Guess not. Is the petitioner here?
Anna Reese, I'm at the Wall Lake lot.
Please state your name and address again.
Yeah, Brianna Reese, I'm at the Wall Lake lot, right on the property of 46234 West Shore Place. I don't really have much to say on this. I do know that if there is any issues with it going forward variance-wise, I do know that there is a shed that we are able to move, and that's on the back portion there that you saw. We're able to move that over, so if it were to be approved the other direction, we do have that room and window to move if that's okay with you guys. So all I have today.
You're aware of the recommendations that a survey needs to be made, right?
Right,
Okay.
okay.
Anybody else have any questions for her? Okay, thank you. Anyone else in the audience care to address this? Okay, commissioners?
Well, Madam Chair,
Joe.
I'll lead us off by just saying I appreciate staff's report on this and the diligence of some complex mathematics to make sure it all fits, but I think this petitioner has a well thought out plan with some enjoyment in her future with her family, so I wish her well with that. And I also would just note, I appreciate the staff's points about that other variances, or it just seems consistent with the nature of the neighborhood, and that the other setbacks along the way here, that this isn't going to stick out like a sore thumb. The one concern that was raised that was kind of the most interest to me, and I think the gentleman that raised it left, but I think I can see some valid concerns about snow removal and different things like that when you have things encroaching in towards the right of way. But again, staff seem to say that there's a lot of things along that path that are already doing it, and I don't necessarily hold that against this petitioner. So be open to any other thoughts from my colleagues.
Any other comments?
Chair, I'd just
Go
like
ahead.
to echo what Joe said. You know, she has lived here for, what, 30-plus years? You know, she's not somebody that just moved in that we don't know anything about. She cares about the area, so I have no problem with this at all.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the variance.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve variance 24-02. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Any old business?
No.
New? No. Okay, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone.